claim that Chabad and that religious organization, first of all, there are radical Jews, there are radical Muslims, there are radical Christians. I'm not denying that. I'm a Jew, and I will say that there are radical Jews. But when you claim that Chabad says that Jews are the best and that is somehow inciting violence, there might be radical people who take a line from Chabad and put it on an act of terror. That does not mean that Chabad is a terrorist organization or itself solicits terror. You can go out into the street in Pomona, people are holding up signs, accept Jesus as the Lord and Savior or your soul's going to burn in hell. I get calls every month from a Baptist church in I don't know where, and they tell me that if I don't respond to my angel of deliverance, I'm going to drop dead. These are things that every religion thinks that it is the best. That is no grounds for terrorism, but that is also no grounds to say that any line in a religion or any line, God forbid, in Chabad is supporting terror. We could look at any religion and we can say that it supports its own people the best. That's kind of the point of religion. But to say that Chabad, the Rebbe that you spoke about, in front of the shul where he prayed in the last years of his life, there was a Pakistani Jewish wedding this week. So to claim that there is racism inherent in an organization, I think is a little bit misleading.
Well, it's one thing to say that your religion is top-notch and the bee's knees, and certainly you're right that that is a trait that pretty much every spiritual tradition espouses. But I think it's really on another level when you consider people outside the group to be satanic subhumans. Personally, I find that crosses the line. If you don't feel that those kinds of statements and that kind of framing for understanding the out-group is excessive, you're entitled to that opinion. But I feel on solid ground when I claim that people who make these comments, and these are their teachings, and this is how they instruct their students, I do feel it crosses the line. When you dehumanize people, say they're not human, but sub-satanic, yes, it does incite. And I should add that the Chabad movement, since the burning of the Duma family, in which their motto was inscribed on the house of the family who was burned to death, they also have done no soul searching. If you go to their texts, in fact, they don't reflect on it at all. Not only that, they don't admit that it was done by Jews. They adhere to conspiracy theories where even though the Israeli government, including the Minister of Defense, as I've outlined earlier, specifically stated, we know who did it. It was Jewish supremacist terrorists who carried out the attack. Still, despite this, Chabad movement and its publications continues to put forth a conspiracy where they believe not only were it not Jews who were inspired by Chabad who carried this out, but it wasn't Jews at all. So, to me, if you incite your followers to believe that those who aren't members of the group are subhuman Satanists, and you don't even look at yourself in the mirror when clearly adherents of your group go out and burn babies, I think that's more than just a little problematic, but we can agree to disagree on that.
That's a twisting of what I said. I did not say that it is okay to think that people who are not Jewish are
I didn't say you said that. I said that's what they said.
Yes, but that is not what Chabad stands for today.
That is, this is straight out of Chabad's foundational text, Katanya. Again, you can open up the Tanya in English or in Hebrew. It's all online.
When it's translated from another language, we're talking about translation.
This is on Chabad's website in English.
Yes, it sounds severe. Translations are severe.
What other way can three satanic spheres sound like?
I guarantee you that Chabad
Well, your guarantee is it is.
Do not think that non-Jews are satanic. It's actually
Clearly some of them do because they authorize the book, the King's Torah. And as we discussed, the book, the King's Torah, says this: there is justification for killing babies if it is clear that they will grow up to harm us. This is the top Chabad rabbi in Israel who gave the official authorization for this book. Here in the United States, It's not really going to play to their advantage to openly discuss their genocidal fantasies, but again, you're very welcome, and as you will be when you see the video comes out, it'll all be linked. But even without my hand-holding help, anyone can go online to search through Hatanya from the Chabad website, their foundational texts, and read this. Or read the publications of the Rebbe, or read the book, The King's Torah, and find out for yourself what these quotes are. And as we can see in Israel, that is being not just talked about, but put into practice. I know it's very difficult to accept that these warm fuzzy rabbis who don't speak about, maybe on this campus, maybe they don't advertise those less attractive, at least to me less attractive, aspects of their ideology. And certainly, this is not across the board. There's plenty of Jewish religious groups that do not espouse this. And as I pointed out just a few moments ago with the head of the Reform movement in and not just rabbis, but also regular citizens who are disgusted by these acts of violence. Unfortunately, Chabad's leaders in Israel are not among them. It's based on their foundational texts, and clearly their followers, and not only their followers, but larger and larger portions of the population are carrying it out, and sickeningly, larger and larger proportions of the population don't mind it. Because at the end of the day, again, 72% of Jewish Israeli youth said that they aren't willing to out and out condemn these kinds of racial hate attacks. I'm sorry to say that this is the reality on the ground.
Hate attacks are illegal in Israel. If a Jew hurts a Muslim, the Jew will be put in prison. If a Muslim hurts a Jew or a Palestinian hurts a Jew, unless Israel does something about it, the Palestinian Authority is not going to take any measures.
I don't know if you were at the same presentation, but I just explained to you twice now that the Minister of Defense said that the Israeli government knows who were the Jewish supremacist, racist terrorists that firebombed to death man, woman, and a baby. They know who did it, but that they are not carrying out any arrests, and they are not laying any charges. That's just one of many, many examples. Now, that's fact. You can make a broad generalization that isn't based in fact, and you're welcome to attest to that fact, but what I brought you today is facts on the ground. I know it's difficult to embrace that reality when it contradicts, I'm assuming because you stated your Jewish ethnicity or religious conviction, that you identify with maybe the state or the religion or these groups, Chabad, I don't know. And if you identify with something, it can be difficult to accept because then it says something about yourself because you say that you're identifying with it. But I would appeal to you to make efforts to see these for what they are. They don't speak for you, sister. These people speak for themselves. These actions, those speak for themselves. The perpetrators of those acts and the people who make these insightful statements, they speak for themselves. I don't think they deserve your support or protection or defense. But if you choose to stand up in support of them, I can't agree to that. You know, we have to agree to disagree.
You're claiming that I support terrorism.
You right now said in Chabad isn't terrorist. You said that Chabad doesn't do this.
I support.
Okay, there's a tape here. If you want it, you've just said right now, I state you facts. Facts on the ground.
You don't see the problem in logic?
I said that if you want to defend the Chabad movement and other people, even after I've shown you that they have stated these facts, okay, made these statements, and that their followers have carried out these actions, if you want to identify, that's your choice. That's your choice if you want to do that. And I cannot stand in solidarity with you when you make that choice, if you make that choice. I don't think I can be more clear than that. If you want to play word games, you're welcome to play Scrabble, or you're welcome to play Boggle, or any other word games you want. I've broken down 2 hours of facts here. If you want to have like a Zionist troll debate, you can go on Twitter or something. I'm not here to like engage in that. I'm here to have a calm, frank discussion about actual facts. If you want to know my opinion, I'd say my opinion. You want to know some facts you haven't already spoken about, I'm happy to do that. You want to get into a debate about Chabad, you can talk about Chabad. But you've stated what you think about them. I stated what I think about them. I don't know you. I don't think I'm going to because I'm leaving town tomorrow. But hey, you're entitled to your views. These are my views.